You're welcome to another edition of SceneDMs, Season 2. I'm your host, your boy, Deuce Wayne.
Kyle McIntosh here.
Yeah, and it's a good one, man. Issue 22, the one with the Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be a good one, man. We're going to talk all things Iron Man, specifically RDJ. I mean, first of all, Merv, what's your history with Iron Man, if I had to ask you right now?
My history is an interesting one because I think that my older brothers, definitely talked about comic books a lot.
Yeah.
I just didn't care. And I didn't really read comic books as much. But I remember when Iron Man came out in 2008, even just like Hulk came out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I watched every superhero movie. I just didn't know the history of somebody like Iron Man. I knew Hulk because Hulk was easy.
You talking
Batman,
about the Ed Norton one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even before that, the one before that one, where he was like really, really green.
Yeah.
But I think that with Iron Man, it was kind of, I don't know, it was a little different because I watched the movie and that's when I fell in love with like comic books for myself. You know what I mean? That was like 8th grade. So
Nice.
I fell in love with comic books and not through my brothers anymore. It was like through me, like my own experiences. So I think that's my history with Iron Man. And then ever since then, man, he's just been an icon, whether movies or I read comic books now, and he's been an icon in comic books for a while. And it was just, I don't even just read them now. I used to read them too.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started reading them because of the movie, I realized that he was really an OG and really was different, man. Different man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we haven't introduced this yet, but we have something called Trizzy Facts. And I got a Trizzy fact right now, bro.
I said a Trizzy fact.
A Trizzy fact, bro. Shout out our boy Trizzy. But
I called him.
you know, Iron Man was created by Stan Lee, which everybody knows, but people might not know that Stan Lee actually created him to be purposely an unpopular character because he created him during the Cold War, and he wanted him to be someone that was unlike the other characters that he had created before, and force this character, you know, in people's faces and have them ironically fall in love with somebody who basically makes war weapons. And, you know, provides ammunition for the wars and funds these wars with his, I guess, his creativity, but also his inventions and his participation in it. And then, you know, also still kind of be like an anti-hero hero. So it's kind of interesting to see that he purposely, you know, kind of
weird.
Yeah, it's weird to say.
He probably tried to make like this,
like he sabotaged his own creation.
Because even like the arrogance and everything like that, like I'm sure he did all that to try to make him seem like an asshole, so nobody would like him. But then it was just like, the guy's not that bad.
Yeah, people
like he's not that bad. So then they liked it.
Yeah. So, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up, Merv. Trey Bell Haynes, man, that's our boy with Team Canada.
Waste man? No, I'm playing.
Nah. That's crazy.
TBH, my dog, man. My dog.
Yeah. My dog. Shout out my boy Trey Bell Haynes. But we had an interesting conversation. Do you remember this when we were in the back of the bus on the way to the arena?
Yeah.
When we were all playing with Team Canada. We were in DR. Dominican. And we had like a serious debate and argument about who was better. Yeah. And you guys know that I'm Deuce Wayne, so I'm Team Batman all day, every day, 24/7.
Yeah.
And Trey Bell Haynes and we got into a real vocalized conversation about who would win in a fight, Iron Man or Batman. And I have to ask you here on SceneDMs, what do you think? What's your opinion?
It's a hard one, man. It depends on preparation time, because you know Batman really thrives off preparation.
Detailed, intricate.
So it depends on preparation. If he has preparation, I think he's deading Iron Man easy.
Yeah,
but
he's
if
a guy
it's
that
like
the scouting report.
Exactly. If it's like a one-on-one, and I think his instincts are good, but like with fighting. But I don't think his instincts are good with somebody he doesn't know. So say like somebody with powers he doesn't know or something like that. He's just like, holy, like how do I deal with this? And
like he would do better the second and third time.
Yeah, exactly. The first time is probably like a training method for him. And he's like, and he just dips out. He's like, yeah, I'll be back still. And then when he comes back, he deads them the next time. So I think that's kind of what it is, and that's why it's kind of hard to say, but I still always rock with Batman. Batman's my dog, man. So
that's my dog.
That's my dog still. So I always rock with Batman and always roll with Batman still. Even though it's not a Batman episode of him, it's a Batman thing still.
I mean, they have a lot of similarities, right? Both being rich, wealthy, Both being good. They could do the dirty work. They could invent things themselves.
I mean, Batman not as much because he has Lucius.
He has Lucius
Fox,
to help him
and
out.
then he also has Alfred.
Right, Alfred at the helm.
But he's actually very intelligent. But I think
Very
when it comes to
intelligent.
engineering and
Iron Man
making
beats him in
Iron
that.
Man beats him in that category
Right.
as well. And I guess one of the not similarities that they have, or differences, sorry, that they have, is that Iron Man actually lets everybody know, like, I'm Tony Stark, fam. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna put no identity behind this, fam. Like,
Right.
this, I'm Iron Man, Spider-Man. I mean, I'm Iron Man, and I'm Tony Stark, fam. That's it.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I think that was one of the movie tropes that made Iron Man such a great film in itself, because he was able to identify with the fact that, listen, I'm a superhero and it is what it is. And so often we have these kind of superhero movies that, they try to, these characters try to hide their secret identity because they want to protect their family. They feel like if they let the world know who their true identity is, that they put their family and compromise the safety of everybody that they love.
Over comic books, it has happened. It
It's a general theme.
happened. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
As soon as somebody knows something about your life, it's.
I mean, that's life in general, right? It's like, if we can't get to you, we're gonna get to
somebody that you love. Yeah, exactly.
So, but then we had someone like RDJ who literally improvised and ad-libbed the line in the first movie, "I am Iron Man," and it was something that stuck. And like you said, he was able to fill those shoes of being boisterous and everything like that. But is it safe to say that? I mean, and this would be kind of my hot take, but those hot takes that are, for example, this hot take is like a J.R. Smith hot take, in a sense where, you have those coaches where, like, yo, that's a bad shot. But for a guy like J.R. Smith or Jordan Clarkson, it's like, he makes those.
Yeah, they take those shots, yeah.
Like a Jamal Crawford, where it's like, that's a wild attempt for anybody else, but this guy makes those kind of shots.
Yeah.
This will be my hot take. And Merv, is it safe to say, and now for everybody else who's into superhero movies, don't come at me for this, because there's definitely been other adaptations of superhero movies in just the span of Hollywood prior to the Iron Man film. But is it safe to say that RDJ's Iron Man is the modern day pinnacle of what kind of kickstarted the MCU universe and just superhero movies at a high level? Because obviously we had
that's not really a hot take, fam. That's very just obvious.
Right. We had Blade. We had The Dark Knight. We had
but nothing
Superman
stuck.
1 and
Nothing stuck
2s.
like nothing
We
stuck
had
like.
Like, Superman was good before, like, 3
No,
and 4. 3 and 4
I
was
wasn't
bad.
talking about him. I was talking about
Blade was
Dark
good.
Knight still. Dark Knight's
Dark Knight's amazing.
Ooh, that
It
was a
really
hard one
showed
to.
us that, like, you could really, if you really put some major themes, dramatic themes into these characters, have good performances and a nice set piece,
Yeah.
that you can go a long way and
So.
make a lot of money. So I definitely agree with that. But I'm just saying that RDJ kind of kickstarted the Marvel universe in a sense when it comes to the MCU. Do you think that's an accurate statement to say?
One second, let me look at this real quick. I need to. For the Marvel universe, yes, I believe so.
Yes.
But I just want to see about your point about kickstarting comic book movies. Dark Knight and Iron Man came out the same year, 2008.
Ooh, wow.
I know. And
Wow.
Batman Begins obviously came out before that.
Before that, that's how I mean. So
that's what I'm saying. So, like,
Begins,
I think that with the success of
Batman Begins, Christopher Nolan.
Batman Begins, Christopher Nolan, and then obviously the success of Iron Man, but then also the success of Dark Knight, they realized that, we can really do something with this.
It's weird because, like, Blade was successful. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was prior to this. It was successful.
Well, Spider-Man 3 was trash, but not trash. It wasn't trash. I enjoyed it,
trash, yeah, I like
but it was trash box office wise.
Right. I'm trying to think of other movies that came out. Like, Daredevil was trash. Like, that kind of stuff. Well, like, it wasn't the best, but there were
talking about Ben
attempts.
Affleck one? Yeah, it's trash.
There were attempts at these movies.
Like The Punisher.
But for some reason, it's like RDJ came out at the right time, where it's like everything kind of hit, kind of like a lightning struck in a bottle type of situation.
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, lightning in a bottle, where everything happens at the right time. It's good luck. It's just great production. It's everything. So, like you said, I might not be a hot take, and I don't know. I just feel like it was a forefront because, like I said, Blade, Wesley Snipes is one of my favorite franchises. The third one is trash, but I feel like the first two are really good. And
I didn't mind it as much. I don't know if people hated it so much. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't like the Ryan Reynolds.
You didn't like Ryan Reynolds?
I think it's hard to block out the discourse that you hear from like the making of the movie and everything that happened. You know, you hear these stories about Blade would only be. I mean, sorry, he was.
He would keep his eyes closed, so they had to like CGI his eyes on and stuff.
He was being so difficult because he was upset with was it Kate, who was the Kate Beckinsale? I forgot her name, but the female, and then also Ryan Reynolds. He was upset with
Jessica Biel.
He was upset with like them having the big poster and the script and the screenplay, and he didn't have as much control like he did in the first two.
Yeah.
And he felt like he was kind of giving the franchise away, the keys away. And I think he felt like the movie was different from what he pictured it to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the stories you hear about how he didn't come out the trailer, and like you said, he refused to open his eyes, and he was just being petty, bro.
Yeah.
Like he said that he wouldn't respond to anybody's name except for Blade. Like you couldn't call him Wesley on the set. He said he only communicated to the director in cue cards. Like he didn't talk to him. No one could talk to this man.
I don't know, man. There's like
it's funny, man. But I mean, RDJ, man, we're gonna get into it, and just Robert Downey Jr. is just amazing. I mean, he's already a prolific actor, especially in the 80s. He had so many movies that hit in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But as we know, he had a tumultuous career when it comes to his personal life, just being in drugs and trying to, deal with that kind of aspect.
Iron Man saved him.
And Iron Man was
kind of like a story about himself, kind of in a way, because you know what I mean, like Tony Stark was just like this man that just did whatever he wanted, and people didn't really like him as much, and then he was thinking that he was unstoppable. Then he experienced something bad, and like just like Robert Downey Jr. kind of in real life, like went to rehab, did all this stuff,
right,
and then came back out on the other side a winner, because obviously he got Iron Man, and Iron Man turned into what it was. So I think that it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I feel like in the sense of like him becoming Iron Man. And
that's
what
made him so unique as a Tony Stark, because we could actually see Tony Stark's characteristics in him.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I don't know if you know about the comic book, The Demon in the Bottle, the Iron Man comic book. There's I think it came out in 1979 or something like that, but there was a comic series that dealt with Iron Man had like a malfunctioning suit, and one time he was at this conference and the suit accidentally killed like a world leader, and everyone blamed him. And even though the police didn't charge him or didn't try to fight him because they knew his capabilities, in this comic series, like he started drinking, and he was just going through a lot of sorrow and everything. And you'd assume that that's the storyline they would have taken for the MCU, but instead it's like they centered the whole performance and movie around RDJ, just because of how much of a movie star he was and his capabilities of being an actor. And like I said, we've mentioned it before, but he's been in so many movies prior to that showed that he's able to do that. And I think even before Iron Man, he was in the Zodiac, which is a movie that you and I both don't see the mass appeal that it gets. It's critically acclaimed as one of the better movies in a star-studded cast. But I mean, I think we both share the same sentiment when it comes to that film. But that was one of those movies that it kind of like was RDJ's like I guess bounce back into Hollywood after having some setbacks when it comes to what he was dealing with in his personal life. But I mean, this is gonna be a really good episode, bro. Usually when we talk about superhero movies, we talk about the campy ones. I always use that word campy because there were a lot of goofy movies like the Tim Burton Batmans and those kind of Batmans that came out in the late 90s and 80s and stuff like that. So it's cool to see like RDJ's take on Iron Man, because it was so serious. Like it was kind of innovative in the sense where it was like a serious take on the superhero genre. It wasn't just a guy in spandex or a guy in a costume. It was real life themes being incorporated into this guy and how he was going to balance being a superhero but also being a man. And I think it was the same thing with the Christopher Nolan series with Batman in that sense. So it's going to be a great conversation going forward. And I think before we get into Act 1, we'll just take a quick break.
Yo, Dwayne, where'd you get that sweater?
You mean this sweater right here?
Yeah.
The SceneDM sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah, SceneDMs podcast, man. They got some stuff coming out. If I were you, I'd stay hip to it.
Oh, crazy.
Man, where'd you get that sweater?
Oh, I also got it from SceneDMs.
What you talking about, Makai? I ain't never seen that before.
What are you talking about? It says SceneDMs.
We are back. Act 1, issue 22, the one with the Iron Man. This is season 2, man. Still excited. Can't believe that we're here in this new crib, this new home, this new environment. Shout out to where we are right now. The vibes is immaculate. The vibes is great. I think when we think about Iron Man and we talk about the realm of the MCU, which is the abbreviation for the Marvel Cinematic Universe for anybody who doesn't know out there. But there's a lot of things that happen when it comes to the big screen, and not just the comics or the animated series or the Disney shows. And just like basketball, when it comes to being successful on the court, you can't just necessarily have the best coach who's like a director, the best offensive and defensive system, which is like your production team, or great owner, which is like the executive producer or a studio. I'm able to make that analogy between basketball and films. But without the players, like, you know what I mean? You could have a Phil Jackson, but without a Kobe Bryant, without a Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? Who do you, like, what do you have?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to say that the actors are the ones that really get the vision across. And with that being said, casting is so crucial. And I think that sometimes it makes or breaks certain movies that, you know, we love or hate, and that potentially might have a great premise, but if we don't have the right people behind it, it kind of doesn't carry out the same way and doesn't really reach that level of excellence that we're expecting it to.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Robert Downey Jr., do you think there was anybody else that could play this character, or do you believe that he was just shoe fit?
He was born to play the character.
One that
man.
was, you know, there's any valid choices? Because I don't know if you noticed, Merv, but I was doing some research, and in the late 90s, this project kind of got kicked around a little bit. And you'll like this, but I think in 96, Nicolas Cage was kind of, which is crazy because Nicolas Cage seems like he was just out there grabbing every script.
Yeah.
And because he
Still,
was,
to
right,
this
to
day.
this day, it's like he doesn't know how to say no.
Yeah.
Like his agent's probably a yes man. This is whatever is put on his table, he's doing it. But Nicolas Cage was rumored to play that, and then it didn't go through. You won't believe this either, bro. But I also saw that Tom Cruise was also somebody that was slated to play this in like '98. Leonardo DiCaprio, Rob Lowe, Hugh Jackman before he was Wolverine were some of the names that were being kicked around. But do you think that RDJ was the best choice, and if so, why?
I think RDJ was the best choice based on literally what I said before. Like, just like it seems like something about his life, and he just has the charisma. He has the comedic timing. He has the banter. He has everything you would need from Tony Stark. You know what I mean? And I feel like now they base the character in comic books and even like TV shows or video games like based on Tony now, because he did the job so well. You know what I mean? It's just like sometimes when people are cast into a role and it's like perfect. Like it just seems like they were born to be in that role. And RDJ seems like he was born to be in that role, and he was born to play Iron Man and play him for a long time, which he did. So I think he was meant to be Iron Man no matter what. Like I think Tom Cruise wouldn't have done it as well. I don't think, in my personal opinion, Nicolas Cage is at all. I don't think he would have done well at all. I think that those guys are the only two guys I would even think about. Rob Lowe and all those guys. No. But I think that
Hugh Jackman is just Wolverine. Like.
Exactly, and he's too tall for it too. He's too tall, like 6'2" or something like that.
Right.
So I think that Robert Downey Jr. really got the job done, but he also got the perfect job because he is,
I think he has that perfect blend of like charm and charisma. And it's kind of crazy because when you talk about the MCU and you talk about the trilogy of Iron Man, you speak on Tony Stark evolving from, you know, making eccentric weapons to being a manufacturer to being a hero who puts others first. We've seen him like ascend. His character arc is he no longer is selfish. Like, you know, when you see the first Iron Man, you're like, this guy's a selfish guy.
Yeah.
And then he develops meaningful relationships throughout the trilogy and throughout the MCU. Even with the Avengers, you see him develop relationships with, you know, Steve Rogers, Captain America, or Pepper Potts, or you see him just try to mentor. Like that mentorship and that relationship that he has with the new Spider-Man with Tom Holland is just crazy. It's immaculate, and it's so cool to see. Like I love seeing them on screen together. And I think that's just a dope thing about, you know, RDJ. He's able to kind of show the humanity in being Iron Man. You know, sometimes we see superheroes and we're like, yo, couldn't picture ourselves being that person. Like I don't see myself in Superman. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's so out there. It's just not obtainable. But, you know, someone like an Iron Man, it's like, you know, I could see how that could happen for some people, or they could see themselves in it.
Oh, for some people. I was about to say yourself.
Some people. Nah. I ain't that smart. I ain't no tech-savvy guy.
My fault, Mr. Engineer. That sounds good.
That ain't me, bro. That ain't me. But the Dark Knight director, Christopher Nolan, calls the casting Academy Award nominee Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, in the MCU. Nothing less than one of the greatest casting decisions in the history of movies.
Yeah, I saw
ever.
that. I saw that when you said that.
That's a great quote.
I believe that is comic book movies of all time.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Him and Wolverine.
No, he said that one of the greatest casting decisions in the history of movies in general. He didn't even say comic book. He said history of movies.
That's a hard one. There's been a lot of people that were meant to play a role.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds literally were a match made in heaven.
Great point.
Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, match made in heven. Mm-hmm. See, those three people alone, I don't know if RDJ, Ryan Reynolds, and Hugh Jackman don't have like an easy way out. I think that'll be a hard one to go through.
Right. And
even Christian Bale as Dark Knight, I really liked him. Or Heath Ledger as Joker. Come on, man. Like you see what I'm saying? Like these are just like
matched.
So I don't know. I think that me personally, I think that that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the impact, I think it's true.
Ooh.
Because of impact.
The impact.
And the thing about it is that only, and that's crazy too, because it's really hard to say impact because nobody, like Wolverine and Deadpool are like go hand in hand with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. You know what I mean? So like it's not like, like even if you like want to play a Wolverine, like all you're thinking about is Hugh Jackman.
Right.
When you're playing as Deadpool or seeing any Deadpool stuff, commercials, any of that stuff, you're like Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Impact based on the money he grossed, I would say obviously MCU, but based on like literally being an identical twin to what the character is, I would say Ryan Reynolds. So I'm not gonna lie to you.
True. I respect that point. I ain't gonna lie to you. This one might be a hard question. Is the first Iron Man, which is the first movie in the trilogy of Iron Man, is there a better superhero first movie in a franchise that hits harder than that one? If you had to think about it, like Spider-Man 1, the first Blade,
in a
superhero franchise, Batman Begins. I feel like Iron Man 1 is like top tier. Like outside of maybe the villain, I don't really see anything
Captain America.
Wrong. Ooh, that's a
Red
great origin story. That's a great origin story.
Thor, hell no.
Nah.
Hulk really hasn't had anything. Yeah, the only person I can think of is Captain America still.
Right.
I mean, Spider-Man's movie, the first one was tough.
Right.
But it wasn't
anything crazy, yeah. I agree with that. I'm curious, what's your favorite performance from Tony Stark? And it could be anything regarding the MCU and film. Not just as Iron Man, the franchise, but maybe in the Avengers or anything. But what's your, like, for me, for example, like, I love the Jericho moment, which was the moment where he let the missiles go, where he's talking to the soldiers in Iron Man 1. And he's, like, kind of being condescending and cocky. And then he lets the missiles go, like, I introduced you to Jericho. And then they go over his head. They blow up. You see the smoke just go by him in the suit. He's holding the hand up.
Yeah.
I just think it's so tough. We talked about this already, but the whole I am Iron Man at the end of the press conference where he just threw away the cue cards and was like, man, forget it. I'm just going to embrace it. Yeah. And it's obvious because that's who his personality is. He loves the clout. He loves the fame. He loves the women. He loves the drinking. He loves just being in the nightlife. He's obviously a genius, but at the same time, he still embraces both sides of the fence. I also like when he discovers a new element. I don't know if you remember the court scene with all the people in court, and he's just being so just
like
very
like standoff. Like, didn't care, like the dying of laughter, and then he talks about how what's his name was trying to build the same thing and all that stuff. So and he was failing.
Right, like that whole court hearing, the court hearing scene was funny. But when he finds a new element in his crib, and he's going through the,
I think that's 2.
Yeah.
3.
One of them, but I think
it's 2.
He's putting together new elements so he can figure out how to potentially help his heart and everything. I just like how he's just in the crib, just like going ham with the finger and stuff, and just going crazy with the scientific stuff.
Even when he, like you said, when he found the new element, but he found it in the map of his
dad's,
and then his dad had a message for him and some of that stuff. Like I think those scenes are like iconic scenes,
high level,
high
level, just like the Easter eggs and just the way he was able to connect the dots, and then how it kind of helped impact him becoming Iron Man and just being who he was. And then among my favorite scenes as well is the suit up scene, which I think is the first one where he's like in the crib and it hits his
he's trying to do it all and he hits him in his nuts.
He's trying to stand there and just have all the different parts come to him, and he's like, yo, we got to turn that percentage down just a little bit. It's too fast. He's ducking and stuff. But do you have any like favorite scenes that you can remember? Obviously, when he unfortunately met his demise in Endgame, that was a big scene for RDJ too as well.
I think a good scene, even though he got his ass whooped, was that when he was holding his own against Captain America and Winter Soldier down in the bunker. I think that scene's elite because he was like really holding his own. Yeah, they had to double team my man Pulse to make sure they got the job done, fam. And he was murking these guys. He was going ham, bro. And that's why I'm like, man, he's like that still. Right. I like that one, and I think a couple of the times with Spider-Man, I think those are funny times too.
Yo, speaking of Spider-Man, do you remember when Spider-Man came to the crib and he saw Aunt May on the couch with Tony Stark?
Yeah.
That was hilarious because he was like, yo, what's going on? Like, yo, Tony's hollering at my aunt. But, I mean, I feel like in the Tom Holland series, they purposely had like a younger Aunt May. And that kind of changed the dynamic of how we viewed her, like our perspective.
Yeah, because we always viewed her as older.
Yeah, right. And that one,
but technically, she was older. She just wasn't like 70s old. Right. You know what I mean? Because then it kind of never made sense in the first place because I'm like, why is his aunt so old?
All right.
Because like, how much older are they to his parents?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was, but I liked the change too. No, we ain't complaining.
Yeah, Tony Stark liked the change too, bro. He was
and so did Happy.
Fire, fam.
So,
but that was funny because he was figuring out what was going on, and he tried to lie and say it was a program that had to do with the internship and everything, and that turned into him eventually mentoring him. Yeah. And that trickles down to not only the MCU, but also to the Ultimate Spider-Man, the TV show, the animated show, where we see Tony Stark show up and he's trying to help Peter Parker become the best Avenger he can be and be a team player and just mature with his powers, but also his ability and his responsibilities, and bringing it to the forefront, how they can all work together. But I think like those are probably my favorite moments in the MCU when it comes to Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any.
I think the ones that I told you were pretty iconic for me. I think that which one was it again? No, I don't think was he there when they did the whole which master do you serve?
Oh
thing?
yeah,
and he's just like, what am I supposed to say? Jesus? Remember the Star-Lord of that?
I thought
that part was funny too.
When he's in the conference room, like the war room, the event at Shield headquarters, hilarious scenes. But especially when he was trying to get Bruce Banner to change. Yeah. He was annoying him the whole time,
shocking him and doing all types of stuff.
Yo, that was funny. That was super funny. But man, before we get to Act 2, man, let's just take a quick break. We'll be right back with more SceneDMs.
I know we joke around a lot in SceneDMs podcast, but these sweaters are really serious. We're really serious about these sweaters. They're really good sweaters. They look great.
Yeah, if you want to get connected, man, stay plugged in with the merch. We got it coming. We got hoodies, T-shirts, sweats, all that. So stay tuned.
Deuce Wayne and Mikhail here. So check it out.
Yeah, and we're back. SceneDMs, issue 22, the one with the Iron Man. And we're here, Act 2. All right, Merv, let's get straight to it. When it comes to the Iron Man film trilogy in the MCU, where do you rank them?
I think they're already ranked 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, just like that? Straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about ranked throughout other trilogies? Or
no,
ranked
just
they're ranked already
franchise.
The 1, 2, and 3.
All right, so you say 1 is first. The budget was $130 to $140 million. It made $585 million, bro, which is, like you said, that's like what kind of showed the world, like, okay, there's an audience here. We can grow from this. We just got to continue to feed the people. There's obviously a want and need for this type of content when it comes to movies. And with a 126-minute runtime, I thought that the movie was at a great pace. And basically after being held captive, and the Afghan billionaire engineer Tony Stark creates a unique weaponized suit of armor to fight evil. Let's talk about that for a second, bro. Why would I forgot his name, but why would the bad guy, like the Mandalorian, I mean not the Mandalorian, I forgot his name, bro, but why would
not him either?
The villain?
Yeah, the villain from the first one?
Yeah.
Is his dad's partner.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. I forget his name.
Why would he put not only a billionaire but someone who knows how to create weapons into the cave and have him? I know he wanted him to create a weapon for whatever, but it's like, you don't think he would have created a weapon himself? Like, he's smart. You just gave him tools.
That's such a good point. Still, I think his name is like Jonah or something. Jonah,
like, you know what I mean? If you had to make a nitpick,
Jericho or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But no, you're right though. I think that it wasn't an intelligent moment on that. And I don't know if he expected them to do all that or like what his plan was, but I truly believe it wasn't very well thought out. Maybe he thought that he would die initially.
Right.
Wasn't they supposed to just kill him in the first place?
Yeah.
They were supposed to just kill him, but then they tried to use him for the parts, and then they were gonna kill him.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember quite, but yeah, I think that was a very big flaw because I'm just like, why wouldn't you just? I mean,
right.
we
wouldn't have a movie.
But I mean, I know, but that's how a lot of movies would end. No,
yeah,
if we all just like skip to a point. There's like this YouTube channel that does that.
Yeah.
If the movie ended the way it's supposed to or something like that. I forget what it's called, but it's hilarious still.
But a good idea.
But
you know what's crazy though, bro? Jon Favreau, who I love because he directed and acted in The Chef.
Yeah.
He also directed The Mandalorian. He was in the movie Swingers, which we talked about in season 1. He's in Couples Retreat. I love him in that. But he's also a capable director. He directed The Elf, which was out of here.
Yeah,
obviously
it's an iconic movie. Yeah.
But I feel like he had so much scrutiny for taking on this project because people didn't think he was capable of directing this type of movie, especially coming off of The Elf with Will Ferrell. So, do you think that anybody else could have directed this movie, or do you think Jon Favreau was a perfect guy? And then having him cast RDJ. And then have the studio say no because RDJ has such a history with the past. But then having it work in their favor because you mentioned it, Merv, but the fact that basically RDJ serves as Tony Stark getting redemption, and it's kind of like therapeutic for him because in real life we also are seeing him win in real time, and it's parallel to him as Tony Stark because he fought demons to get to where he was, and he was able to overcome and see that side. So, it was pretty dope. And then also in the first one, it's like, bro, there might not have been enough action sequences because the budget wasn't like what it was supposed to be, but it had a dope post-ending credit scene where we finally see Nick Fury. And that kind of set the table for what was to come.
Did you see Did you see the tweets about because you know how USA lost to Canada in third place and fourth place, whatever.
Of course, shout to Shay.
And then LeBron tweeted that not tweeted, but that Woj and those guys like tweeted that Bron's trying to like gather people together.
Yeah. Awesome.
Did you not see that they used that video? They said that they said that. This is how Brown was in Steph in the corner of his room. No, he's standing in his corner at nighttime. And he just like it was a standing figure. And he just got out of the shadows. And he's like, "Do you want to be a part of this USA initiative?" And stuff like that. And I was dying because I was like, "Bro, you guys are so stupid."
That's funny.
But did you ever see the original of that though? I know you have.
Yeah.
When they say the mutants and all stuff like that, and like that's the original what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And then he said all these other parts, but no, man, I think that Iron Man 1 is legendary in itself.
So we both agree it's number 1 in the franchise.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't know about the villain, but to be honest, hot take, I think the true villain of the movie was Tony Stark's past. Like, I feel like he was dealing with...
Which one? In the number 1 or 2?
Number 1. Dealing with just like... the repercussions of being a weaponized creator of these weapons and just his father and just like the whole company. Like, I feel like that was the true villain because as much as I like Trey, was it Jeff Bridges? Like, I don't think that was just the best villain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in general, like, I just don't think it was the best villain. But then
for number 1, yeah.
And then in my, like, there's better villains. And if I know you love comics. Like, I don't know if you had in mind another villain that you would rather have seen personally, like just growing up watching some of the TV shows or even reading some of the comics. Like, I would have loved to see like a Blizzard in the MCU as a villain for Tony Stark. Yeah. I wouldn't have mind seeing what's his name, Nefarious. I don't know if it's Captain or Mr. Nefarious, but he also has, or Nefario, but he has a daughter, Madam something, that's powerful in the comics that I used to grow up reading about, and her storylines were dope. With the combat that they had with RDJ, with Iron Man. So there's definitely some, other villains that they could have selected instead of the ones that they did. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I still feel like, one takes the cake when it comes to the best movie in that franchise.
I mean, he has a long list of his like rogues gallery. Mm-hmm. And some of them, like you said, Blizzard.
Yep.
Was on there. Whiplash that obviously was in the second one.
Yeah.
There's Spy Master. Mm-hmm. An evil expert espionage.
Yep.
Kang.
Yep.
But obviously Kang is going up against these new guys that I don't know. He should be washing these guys, but whatever. Crimson Dynamo. Ironmonger.
Mm-hmm. We seen him already.
Is Ironmonger just who Jericho was playing or whatever? Yeah. But I don't know, man. It doesn't. Obadiah, that's the man's name. Why I keep saying Jericho? Because you said, Jericho Missile. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that they could have done a better job with that. Madam Mystique. Mm-hmm. Justin Hammer, who was in it as well.
Justin Hammer,
yeah. Norman Osborn. That's interesting.
Interesting, because it could have been an earlier crossover for a Spider-Man film, but. I mean, personally, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I like the. I think the third one goes before the second. If we're being honest, this is my opinion. I just think the third one, Iron Man 3, came out in 2013. Mm-hmm. The budget was 170 million, 200 million, and made It made $623 million. With a similar runtime of just a minute less, 125-minute runtime. And this one was basically when Tony Stark's world was torn apart by a formidable terrorist called the Mandarin, and he starts to basically rebuild and have retribution. I thought that was a good movie as well. It was a good kind of conclusion to the trilogy. Mm-hmm. But at the same time,
which one? You talking about 3?
Third one, yeah.
Mandalorian?
I don't think it was the strongest.
I mean, Mandalorian. Why I keep saying the Star Wars thing?
I know.
Mandarin?
Mandarin. Yeah. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was.
You thought it was okay? It was trash.
You thought it was trash?
Trash.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Yeah. Why do you think it was trash?
Because, first of all, it was a joke thing. It wasn't even the Mandarin. And the storyline was just like wishy-washy, and it just didn't. Yeah. I don't know, man. I didn't really like it, fam.
It's hard when you set the bar high, and then it's like.
Yeah, it's like they didn't try, and I guess they did, but whatever. But then I just was reading up top 10 ranked enemies of Iron Man, and you were correct.
What?
You know who his number one enemy is?
Who?
Himself. It says Iron Man can never defeat himself.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, you just said that too.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
Sometimes. I know, right? Sometimes we know what we're talking about, man. Sometimes, just sometimes.
A little bit. But that would leave the last one, bro. Iron Man 2, 2010 release. Budgeted at $200 million. Box office at, oh my goodness, $1.2 billion. So they made the most out of all of them with a 131-minute runtime. And I think with the world aware of his identity as Iron Man, Tony Stark must contend with both declining health and also the vengeful mad ties of his father's legacy. So I think that was a good movie. It was fun. It was solid with action sequences, and it had some big laughs in it. There obviously was a lot of storylines in the plot, and they introduced, isn't that where Scarlett Johansson came in?
Yeah, but they also introduced. Well, they didn't introduce Rhodey, but they introduced War Machine.
Can we talk about that for a second? Like, what happened with Terrence Howard?
Well, I watched a video on him speaking about it, and they just said like it wasn't his fault.
Oh, really?
It was more. They just didn't. I don't know, something. It was a conflict between. He never really goes into detail, but he said it was just a conflict between what they wanted and what he kind of portrayed. And
so it was like an acting.
And they were trying to like strong arm him. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I thought I heard. I thought it was he wanted more money than I thought I read that he was like, "Yo, I want more money than RDJ," because at the
No,
time,
I don't think it was that. He said that that's what they try to paint it, but he was just saying that, fam, if I'm gonna do all these movies for you guys, like, can't I get like
yeah,
paid, like, you know what I mean, a decent amount?
he wanted,
And he felt like they were paying him, trying like to pay him movie to movie, and he's like, no, pay me, like, you know what I mean, if we're gonna do this, let's do this. And then Don Cheadle, even his story with them was even worse because he said that he was at his daughter's birthday party and they called him and said, yeah, you got the part. And he's just like, oh, okay, let me mull it over. They're like, no, bro, you have to decide now. You have like 2 hours.
I mean, I guess it's one of those things where you got to know it comes with the territory, because I saw that RDJ,
Don Cheadle, fam, that you guys gonna disrespect Don Cheadle like
crazy.
that?
Boogie Nights, but RDJ only got 500,000 in Iron Man 1. I mean, when you think about it, it's like that's not a lot of money, but because
he got like 100,
were like gambling
on
him, and then exactly what he got on the back end is crazy. So maybe if Terrence Howard could have foresaw what would have happened with the franchise, he would have been okay with taking less money or like not getting what he thought he was worth, because in the end it would have been worth it. But I don't know. Everybody's different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you never, and who knows? Iron Man could have not have panned out. And then it's like you said, why am I working for, and you guys are not paying me for what I'm worth? So that definitely makes sense. And I don't know. I feel like Jon Favreau was under a lot of pressure for the studios to deliver the movie within 2 years. And that's why it took a little bit longer for them to make that one. But in your best opinion, you think that Iron Man 1 was the best one? All right, I think that we can both agree on that. That's an easy conversation. But
easy.
Before we get into Act 3, man, let's just take one more quick break, and then we'll be right back with more SceneDMs.
Yo, Dwayne, where'd you get that sweater?
You mean this sweater right here?
Yeah,
the SceneDM sweater.
Yeah.
SceneDMs podcast, man. They got some stuff coming out. If I were you, I'd stay hip to it.
Oh, crazy.
Man, where'd you get that sweater?
Oh, I also got it from SceneDMs.
What you talking about, Makai? I ain't never seen that before.
What are you talking about? It says SceneDMs.
We are back, and it's the one with the Iron Man Season 2, issue 22. So it's been a good one so far. It's been fun. I think I asked this question already to you, and you said you couldn't picture anybody else directing it. But me, as someone who loves directors, and you know that, let me just throw out some names and see if you could maybe visualize them behind the camera, putting it together. So first off, I have Michael Bay.
Jesus Christ.
Because you know explosions.
That man would have blew up the entire set. Oh, Michael Bay, I ain't seen it still. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Michael Bay too. I love Michael Bay, but nah, man, he would have just done too much. I think it would have just been too much for the audience.
Over the top.
Yeah, I think the audience needed some like lower level, like you know what I mean, realism, a bit realism obviously. But I feel like he would have like blew up everything. Even more than the movie already showed. You know what I mean? Like I think that he would have just been on a wild tip. Fam,
on a wild tip. How about Tony Scott? Fast, frenetic cuts, different color grading.
I know what you're. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't.
You're not going for that one either.
I don't know if I'm going for that one, man.
Okay. What about Justin Lin? You know, he directed some of the fast stuff. He's a good action director.
Nah, man. That would have been too quick. I think we needed story and action. So we needed a great combination for that. Okay. Sorry, Aubrey. Anyways, I think that you needed a good mix of not only the story but the action. And I feel like Michael Bay does too much of the action explosion.
He don't care about the story.
Doesn't care as much about the story. He cares about the story, not as much. Justin Lin definitely is just straight action. Story doesn't even make sense. And I feel like, me personally, because he's my favorite as well, you know, I would say Chris Nolan.
Right.
Because he would add layers to it.
Right.
And on top of that, he would give his story. His action isn't all that great.
Right.
But I feel like for the first movie, it would have been perfect.
I think his action is pretty good because he does a lot of practical stuff, right? He's like one of the guys that hates CGI.
I know. But you don't want that kind of practical stuff for Iron Man. Like if you're doing like Hawkeye movie. Of course, you need practical because that's
Yeah.
practical. That's
Iron Man, you need the
or
CGI.
Black Widow. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like Iron Man, you need the CGI. You need the effects. You need
Right.
those kind of things. And
Speaking of that and his influence, I know you haven't seen Blue Beetle yet, right?
no, I have
I'm not
not.
trying to put you on blast, but I think we spoke about it. But in that scene too, like when that character, gets the beetle suit and everything, to me it paid homage to Iron Man. The fact that the suit kind of acted as a Jarvis
And brought him into space.
brought him out into space,
Yeah.
and he didn't know how to control it, and just being flown around the city via the suit's control. I feel like it was a cool little ode that they were paying homage to Iron Man with that. But how about J.J. Abrams, bro?
Ooh,
He's done a lot of Star Wars stuff.
Ooh, I like JJ.
Yeah. Star Trek. He's done Mission Impossible, the third one, which is probably one of the worst ones. But
JJ Abrams.
I also have a this one might throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, Mission Impossible 3.
Right.
Super 8, I love Super 8.
Yep. Chaz Stilisky. He's responsible for the John Wick series. He knows action in a tight space like nobody else.
Yeah, but then the CGI, man, you need the good mix, bro.
Right. And I guess the last director I would choose is Catherine Bigelow. And she's done a lot of movies. It's an American filmmaker. She's done The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Point Break, which you and I both love with Keanu Reeves. Strange Days. She's done Detroit. She's done a few good movies. But
yeah, see, JJ would be more of a person that you could pick in that because he's dealt with CGI.
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody that I would say you need more CGI in those moments because of who Iron Man is than practical.
Okay.
I think to at least begin it. And obviously you want people to side with the realism of things, but at the same time you're just thinking like, fam, like I need the fake. I need the CGI. I need all that stuff. So that's what I think it is.
F. Gary Gray.
What are you directing in?
A lot of stuff. I don't wanna. Let's look it up real quick. But he's been around for a long time. He's responsible for the newer Men in Black that we both already talked about in the previous episode, not liking. But he did Straight Outta Compton, Law Abiding Citizen,
Fast,
Fate of the Furious,
yeah.
Be Cool, Italian Job. Yeah.
Set it off. Yeah, I mean,
A Man Apart, Sneaky, Friday. I mean,
knowing directors is more your thing still, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So you would have a better understanding. But I feel like there's a good mix in there, like Italian Job.
Right.
The Fate of the Furious. I think there's a good mix in there that you could possibly get away with.
Draw some inspiration.
Maybe. And if I had to pick like the three people, I'd probably pick Christopher Nolan, him, and J.J. Abrams.
True.
Michael Bay, hell no.
All right, the last one would be your guy, JC, James Cameron.
Ooh, I forgot about Jay. Shit.
I mean, that's a guy that knows CGI.
Yeah, but he would just take
else.
forever, bro. Man would take 20
Ooh,
years to
come
make
on,
one movie, bro.
37, huh?
That's what I'm saying. He just puts too much detail into it. But I know if you gave him the amount of time required, the man would kill that. The man would make
money,
3 films.
yeah.
He would have made the trilogy, and the movies would have been elite. James Cameron's my dog, fam. I don't care what anybody says, fam. I don't care.
He's like that. All right, bro. As Act 3 is coming to an end, I have this final question to ask you. If you had to choose somebody now or someone who was in the realm of Hollywood right now to pick Tony Stark, who would the candidate
To play
be?
him?
Yeah, right now. To like reprise his role. If you had to reprise his role tomorrow, who would it be? And this is a tough question, bro, because we had this conversation in season 1 about how there's a lack of movie stars in this current space, especially when it comes to what's happening now, because there's so many influencers who are famous, athletes, just like there's no more just like a Tom Cruise or like a Will Smith. Like there's no one, and there's so many.
We're losing recipes.
Right. There's so many. There's so many TV shows and streaming services that like you don't have to go to the movie to follow your favorite actor. There's so many outlets and content and sources. So it's like the premier movie star is not the same anymore. You know what I mean? So like who coming up right now is someone that you could see. Like for me, for example, I wrote down Casey Affleck or like a Luke Evans.
No, no. KC?
Yeah.
That's my dog, bro, but he's not a good Iron Man, dog.
So who do you think? It's so tough because there's not that many like good young actors right now.
I know. I feel like I have to say Timothée Chalamet, and I do not want to say
I don't want to say him.
I definitely don't want to say him.
Although I am excited to see his adaptation of Willy Wonka and see what he does with that.
I'm excited and not at the same time.
I hear you. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, they just want to.
Gene Wilder is like top of the top when it comes to that.
I'm looking at a list right now, man. This is actually hard. Man, caught me off guard.
All right. What? Yo, who's the young boy that plays in what's his name? Tegger or who's the young boy that plays in the Kingsman?
Oh, you're talking about Kingsman? Nah. Bro. Nah.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard with this. It can't be Tom Holland.
You have to have the charisma, fam. You just have to have that charisma, and
I don't know who's in their 30s and early 30s or late, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like Jake Gyllenhaal, like I can't see him. Like this.
We're gonna have to get back to you guys on this one because this one's a hard one. But
now, yo, let us know if you guys could think of any current movie stars right now that could potentially, you know what I'm saying, play and reprise the role of Tony Stark.
Not even Miles Teller either. Nah, heck no. Yeah, you guys gonna have to help us out on this one.
Ezra? Because of the stuff
he's
going through this.
Yo, anyways, it's been a great episode of SceneDMs.
Yes.
As always. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Can't wait for the next one, bro.
All the ones I would recommend right now is I would recommend I think it's Ultimate Avengers. Or Ultimate, what is it called?
Oh, dang, you didn't even let me put you on.
That's what I was gonna. That's
my fault. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So let me put you on. I forgot to say it to the camera. My fault, family man. Once it's just the time. Let me put you on. The movie I'm gonna say is Iron Man 1. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna say Civil War. Boom.
Ooh.
Civil War is the movie I'm gonna pick. You had that?
Yeah.
Oh
Civil
shit.
War, bro.
And then the TV show I want to go with. Yeah, I mean, I guess I have to go with one of the Avengers ones. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
All right, for me, man, for the Let Me Put You On segment, I have the Civil War as well, no cap. So I don't know how to change.
We're just gonna double down on Civil War.
Double down on Civil War. And then for a TV show, I'm going with the Ultimate Spider-Man, especially like the newer ones from like the later like 2018, 19 type.
Okay.
2017.
Is Iron Man in it?
Yeah, he's in it. Like he serves as a mentor, just like in the movie.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. So that's a dope thing right there. But man, that's the end of regulation, bro. Another episode of SceneDMs in person.
Yes. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
As everybody can see, I keep sliding lower and lower on the seat because I'm so relaxed.
Sunk in place.
But I'm relaxed. I'm just enjoying sitting here talking to my bro. But I appreciate everybody tuning in, listening. Again, shout out Waterfront Studios.
Yes, sir.
They be looking out for us.
It's a great place, great
place, man. Great setup, man. And they're not even paying us to do this. We're just saying it because it's a blessed place. I'm not even lying to you. It's just crazy. But definitely will be here again.
Got some new episodes, bro. Talking about some law stuff. Talking about some hood classics.
Yeah, man. You just gotta tune in.
Tune in, man.
Never know what's gonna happen. Never know who's gonna pop up on an episode.
Yeah, I know they can't wait because I can't wait either.
I can't wait either, man.
So make sure you guys subscribe, comment, like, tag, follow us, share. And wherever you can find SceneDMs, man, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on Apple, Spotify, we there. So make sure that you guys tune in and continue to support. And we appreciate the love, man. Bless up, for real.
Yes, sir. See ya.
All right, later.